Okay, we're up to Daf. We're up to Daf Yud Amid Aleph. We're in the middle of the page. We're in the middle of the page, and where it says Makis B'Shloisha. So Makis B'Shloisha, good Erev Shabbos, and it's the second day of Hanukkah. Makis B'Shloisha. Minani Mili. How do you know Makis is B'Shloisha? So we're going to darshan two psukim, and we're going to darshan two psukim. The pasuk says it's in the Devarim Chafei, psukim Aleph and Beis. Kiyeh Riv Ben Anoshin, there'll be a fight, a monetary fight. V'nikshu ala mishpat, you'll go to the mishpat. Ushefatum, ushefatum is lashon rabim. They'll judge it. V'tzdiku es tzaddik v'yeshu es rasha. And the pasuk says, and the matzdik the tzaddik, they find him righteous, and the rasha they find being a rasha. V'hoyim bin hakas a rasha, when you'll hit the rasha, v'pilu ha'shayfet, you'll go ahead and lower him. V'kol lefanav kidei rishasei b'mispar. Okay, that's the parsha of Makis, and it says ushvatam. So this is the parsha of Makis. So it says one word. Amar Avhuna Makra ushvatum. Ushvatum is shnayim. So when you're darshaning v'hoyim bin hakas a rasha, when you're darshaning the parsha of Makis, ushvatam is done through two. Vein Bezdin Shakel. Bezdin cannot be an even number. It's got to be odd. You're going to go ahead one and add another one. Harikan Shloisha. So that's how we knew that Makis is what B'Shloisha. For the Gemara, the following. If you're telling me that Makis is B'Shloisha, and based upon a plural, let's look at the whole pasuk. V'tzdiku is, and they will be matzdik, is Shnayim. V'hirshiu, and they'll find wicked, Shnayim. So that's a total of 6. And name best in Shakol, Harikan Shiva. So if you dash with Shafatim, let's daven with Tzdiku v'Shiu, and let's require 7 dayanim. So it's not who we buy like Chedula. With Tzdiku as a Tzadik v'Shiu as a Rasha, we need Fa'ula. And if this sounds familiar, you all learned this when you did Makis with your kid. Dama Ula. Remez le'edim zoymim min ha'Torah. An allusion to edim zoymim min ha'Torah. Now it's mashma that edim zoymim is not a din deraisa, that you know about it, and there's a remes to it, or it is a din deraisa, and there's an asmach, some type of remes to edim zoymim, but it's not mefurish in the Torah. So remes le'edim zoymim min ha'Torah minayin. Frag the Gemara right away, incredulously. Remes le'edim zoymim, v'kasiv kasha zamam. Right, like they plan to do. So you see, there's no remez; it's state mefurish because it's zamam, like they planned. As a mefurish a pasuk, it's not a remez. Ella, what does it mean? Ella remez leidim zayim shaloikin. Remez leidim zayim, they get malchus. Now, let me ask you a question: if two edim come along and say this guy ate chaza, all right? So he ate chaza, you chayiv malchus. Two other edim come and say, how can you say he ate chaza that day you with him on yisem? So they get malchus. That's kasha zamam. So it can't mean this pasuk to teach me how do you know Edom Zayim get malchus. But whatever they want, if they wanted him to get malchus, they should get malchus. So obviously it's telling us another din, and the din, of course, is the din of ben Grusha ben Chalutza. The first Mishnah Masechta Makis. Two people go ahead and testify that a person is a ben Grusha ben Chalutza, and they are kahanim. You get 40 malchus, right? You said that if you make them into chalalim, like they wanted to make this guy into chalalim, their children would be chalalim. So it says loy kashazamam. That's the Gemara in the first daf on the Masechta Makis. Good. So now this pasuk on the second daf in Masechta Makis, the Amid Beis, is saying, where do we have a remez to that din of ben Gerusha ben Chalutza, where you're not being Mekayim Kasha Zamam, right? At least to the letter of the law, to the exact same punishment, what they want to do to the guy. How do you know in that case you get Malchus? That's what this pasuk has come to tell me. Rebbe's Leidim Zoimimim, that they get Malchus in a case where what? They want to do something different than Malchus. Good? That's what it's coming to teach me. So now, where do you see it in the words V'tzdiku es tzaddik v'shir es rasha? As I state in Gemara, says the Gemara Vaita. Dichsiv, remes leidim zoymim shaloikim minayin. Dichsiv, v'tzdiku es tzaddik v'shir es rasha. Mishum v'tzdiku es tzaddik v'shir es rasha v'hayim ben hakas rasha. Fellas, if you want to give someone malchus, right? What does it have to do with making a tzaddik into a tzaddik? V'tzdiku es tzaddik, you'll find the righteous person righteous. V'shir es rasha, and you'll find the rasha a rasha. Then you'll give malchus to the rasha. What's that first clause of v'tzdiku es tzaddik? That makes no sense. Says the Gemara, it's not going on the person. It's going on the Edom. It's going on the Edom. And here's where you dash it. Ella Edom. Tzaddik Eidim that made a tzaddik into a rasha because they falsely claimed that he did something. V'asu eida achrina, and come along a second set of eidim. V'tzdiku es at tzaddik, and they find it tzaddik demei kara, and they restore this person's right as a tzaddik. So in other words, Rishayim made this tzaddik into a rasha. Comes along the second set. V'tzdiku es at tzaddik. They return his status. They're returning the first guy that the Eidim testified on. They're returning his status as a tzaddik. V'shavinu lahanech Rishayim. V'yeshiu es a rasha. And they make the first set of Eidim into Rishayim. What's that, guys? That's Eidim Zaymimim. That's Eidim Zaymimim. They're taking the first set of Eidim went ahead and made the guy into a rasha. Comes along the second set, and they're restoring his status. And as a result of restoring the status, how do they accomplish that? Because v'yeshiu es a rasha. They make the first cut of Eidim into Rishayim. Well, in Ben Hakas Rashi, you'll get Malchus. Good? So that's how you know you get Malchus. That's how you know you get Malchus. Why don't we say you get Malchus from there? Because there's a lav shein b'maisa, v'chol lav shein b'maisa ain't like in a love. One of the klalim in Malchus is a lav shein b'maisa you don't get Malchus for. We learn it out from the lav of Chasima. It's right next to this pasuk. It says like sachsim shabadishay. So just like the sachsim is the dinwad in, you have to do a maisa. If you muzzle the ox, you do a maisa, right? And as a result of the maisa, you get Malchus. Who hadin every single case of Malchus, you have to do a maisa in order to get Malchus. Because what happens? This is a very, very famous Mishnah Melech. What happens if you would go ahead and the ox is about to eat and you start screaming and the ox stops? Would you get Malchus for that? You didn't muzzle the ox, but you accomplished the same result. By you screaming at the ox, you stop the ox from eating. So you accomplishing the same thing. Says the Mishnah Melech, since the lav is shayach a maisa, that's not a lav shem b'maisa. That's a maisa. In other words, as long as lav shem b'maisa means it's not possible a maisa whatsoever, right? Like over here, like Sana, testifying. There's never a maisa with testifying, right? It's the act of testifying will never be done al yidei maisa. But the act of chasima, of muzzling, could be done al yidei maisa. In this case, you didn't do it al yidei maisa, you did it through a dibur and you scared the ox. Doesn't make a difference. You get Malchus for that. That's the Mishnah Melech. Okay, now, continues the Gemara. Mishum Rabbi Yishmael Amru, by Malchus be'esim mishleisha. By Malchus is 23. He holds Malchus is 23. So we have 3 and 23. My time of Rabbi Yishmael. What's the reason Rabbi Yishmael that holds 23? So Amar Abaya, Asya Rasha. He learns it out from a Gzeres Shava Mechai Mises. So it says V'hoyim bin Hakas Rasha. So that's the parsha of Malchus, and it says like Sikul Koifel and Nefesh Reitzeach. Do not take koifer. Do not take a monetary payment to let a guy off the hook. Asher hu Rasha Lamus. There's a Rasha to die. So we're going ahead and making comparison between Malchus and capital punishment and Misa. So just like Mises 23, it says the word Rasha, who I did Malchus with. It says V'hoyim and bin Hakas or Rasha, a Gezeres HaKosav that what a Gezeres Shava that you would get 3. You need 23. So 3 according to Shvatam and according to Rabbi Yishmael, it's a total lot of 23 because of the Gezeres Shava to Misa. V'hoyim bin Hakas or Rasha uksiv hasam asher Rasha Lamas. Mala halan asher Rasha Lamas is be'esim b'shlosh. Shleisha afkan by Malchus b'esim v'shleisha. Okay, that's the two sources, right? Either one source because there is Shabbat. Rava says Malchus b'mokam misa oimedes. Malchus is in the place of misa. Malchus b'mokam misa oimedes. Says Rashi. Malchus mokam misa oimedes. 3 lines down where it gets wide. The kivin the over al hasharis bayroi, since a person went against the warning of his creator, roi hulamus, he's right to die. Umisazu konasalav hakasav, bayhu ka'achas hamisais, and this misa, meaning Malchus, the Torah, put on him. In other words, anytime a person goes against the will of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, you're right to die. Now, dying is very what? In our mind, dying is your neshama leaving your body. it could be that getting Malchus is equated with Misa. Because after all, you're going over against the Ratzon of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So this Misa Malchus Konas Akasev, Vayihika Achas Min HaMisais. It's like instead of Arba Misas Bezdin, the Chamesh Misas Bezdin. The Chiheke, the Skila B'fnei Atzma, Usreifer B'fnei Atzma, the Hereg B'fnei Atzma, Havinami Malchus Kachas Min HaMisais. Malchus is one of the Misas. That this, in other words, it's the premise is based upon if you go against the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you should go ahead and die. So, and therefore, we're equating Malchus with death. We're equating Malchus with death. Now, you can say, I said yesterday, physically, you're extracting from a person, you're hitting a person, he's bleeding, you're like taking away, like if you open a wound on Shabbos, right? This has just come to my mind. You're chayef and etzilas neshama, right? If you go ahead and make a wound, right? You're taking your blood is your nefesh. So in other words, we can view the taking of blood as an act of ritzicha in form. In a more machshavadika form, we know that a malchus is a very embarrassing thing. Malchus is a very embarrassing thing. Can you imagine you go to Bezdin and you're getting whacked? So people know that what you were over one of the lavim of the Torah. And we say a person who's embarrassed, right? You're taking the person's neshama. That's why his face turns red, right? And then turns white, like you're taking away his neshama. So on that level, we can understand what I heard this something. I don't remember that on some level that you're going ahead on and you are killing him, right? So the act of malchus embarrassing him is tantamount to killing him. So we can all understand at some level. So therefore, if that's the case, you need 23. If that's the case, you need 23. So again, two pshatim. You have pshat of what of because they were Shavar Rabbi Shmuel. We have Ravis pshat. We have Ravis pshat. Abayis says in Rabbi Shmuel it's a Gzeir Shava. Rabbi says in Rabbi Shmuel it's a svara. That means that somewhere malchus is like a misa. Amar Rav Acha bereid the Rava Ravashi. If you're telling me that malchus is a misa, umdino lamali. Why do we need the oimed? One of the halachas of malchus is we have to have a medical expert come in and tell us how many malchus this person can receive. We don't unequivocally just give him 39, right? We don't say, okay, 39. We go ahead and we make an evaluation. This person can take X amount, and then we divide it, divisible by 3. Says the Gemara, so Ihachi umdil lamali limchaya, go ahead and give him malchus. V'imais leimais, and if he dies, he dies. If you tell me malchus is misa, so why do you care that we have to make an oimed? Go ahead, hit him, and if he dies, he dies. So Amalei, so Rav Ashi told Rav Acha, the son of Rava, Amakra, the pasuk says, the niklo achicha le'einecha. And again, we said it says Aboy milakena. This is pasuk Gimel in Devarim Chafei. Give him 40, 39. La Yosef pen Yosef la Kaisai alei lamaka Rabba the nikla achicha le'einecha. The nikla, what does the nikla means to go ahead and really embarrass? The nikla achicha me'einecha ki machis agaba the chaya machis. When you're going ahead and hitting, you have to be hitting on a live person. The nikla achicha le'einecha. So if you're going to go ahead and give 39, the guy is going to die at 30. Nimsa, the latter 9 is on a dead body. You need that what? The nikla achicha, when you hit him, it's got to be achicha, it's got to be alive. He's got to be alive. So you can't be hitting on a dead body. So therefore, we're going to make an umdina, because if he dies and I'm hitting him, that's not malchus. He's got to be alive when he gets the malchus. So therefore, even though malchus is a type of misa, nonetheless, you need the umdina to go ahead and evaluate and say you're not hitting someone who's dead because he has to be alive. That's the Rav Ashi answered. Says Elahad Tanya, dual lekabel esrim. If you can go ahead and get 20, now ein makir say elamakis haruya l'shtalish. You can only give him makis that's roy to go ahead and what fellas and be divisible by 3. Right? 30 is not divisible by 3. So what do? The kamahain tam nasari. You're gonna round it off to the lower number. You're gonna go to 18. Good. You're gonna go to 18. So if you oimid, the doctor in charge goes ahead, he makes an evaluation that this person will be able to go ahead and handle 20. So you don't round it to 21, you round it to 18. Okay? Fred the Gemara kasha like this. If you're telling me he has to be alive when you're hitting, so why do you go to 18? Go to 21. What's the worst thing that can happen? He'll die at 21. You're ending it, and you're not hitting a dead person afterwards, right? If you're telling me that again that misa that malchus is misa, why when you make an oimed, why do you go ahead and go to the lower number? Keep to the higher number. Go to 21. You'll stop there. What's the worst thing that can happen? He'll die. You were Makayim malchus. You didn't hit a dead body. So why don't you go to 21? That's why I read the Gemara. Kasha. And Amid Beis, Lemchaya Esrim L'chada, go ahead and hit him 21 times. V'chimayis b'hach chada lemas. And if he dies on that last one, so let him die. The kimachis agaba the chaya kamachis, because when you're hitting the back of a live person. So Amalei, so I guess the Rashi. So Amalei, Rav Ashi told him, Amakra, v'nikla achicha le'einecha. And what do we darshan? Acha shalaka. After you finish hitting him, achicha be'ena. You need be'en. You need a live man. In other words, if he's dead, he's not your brother. V'nikla achicha be'einecha. After you finish the malchus, you need achicha. Memela, you can't go to 21. You go to 18, and after 18, he's still alive. After 21, he's dead. So therefore, mach the cheshbon of being a misa, you're right. You could have gone to 21, and mach was hitting a live person, not a dead person. But in addition, you need the person to be alive at the end of the malchus, and therefore you can't go to 21. Good? Okay. A little hakdama before the next piece of Gemara. This is really, we're going to do it very, very Daf Yomi dik. There is tremendous cheshbonis when it comes to how to figure out the calendar, the Jewish calendar. We know that in the Jewish calendar, we know that we fit 354 days and X amount of hours into 365 quarter hours. We go ahead, we fit the lunar calendar in a solar year. Okay? That's going to come into a cheshbon when we have to go ahead and make an ibiyar. But what about the monthly? Today, Bez Hashem, tomorrow, we're going to announce that the moilid is 33 minutes and 16 chalakim after 5 on Monday night. You're going to go ahead and make that announcement. How do you know that? Well, exactly is the moilid. So we know that if you go 354 and you go ahead and you should take the possibilities of a chodesh that's chasher and a chodesh that's malay. A chasher chodesh means the previous month was 29 days and Rosh Chodesh is on day 30. A malay means the previous month was 30 days and Rosh Chodesh is on the 31st day. Good? So why don't we just go 6 and 6? Why don't we just go 6 and 6? So the Gemara discusses that if you go 6 and 6, you'd end up Rosh Chodesh being off by 3 days later. It makes this mathematical cheshbon. So basically, you should say, okay, I can't do 6 and 6. Let me do 9 and 3. And the answer is 9 and 3 doesn't work. You can never make more than 8. 8 and 4 is the maximum amount of malays are 8. 8 and 4. Figuring out how to do that, that's called chishav levana. That's called being machashev levana. Best in figuring it out. Then there's what? There's ibr levana. That's when automatically that the next month the chodesh will be on the 31st day, not the 30th day. Then there's kiddush levana, where Bezdin pronounces mekudesh. Bezdin pronounces mekudesh. Benji had pointed out when we did the Mishnah that the lashon of ibr hachodesh seems a little funny. I told him, well, it means kiddush hachodesh because that's in fact the first teretz of the Gemara. But again, it's a funny lashon, ibra chodesh. What does it mean? Does ibra chodesh mean that you need 3 people to go ahead and say it's day 31? Doesn't that happen automatically? Well, maybe not. I don't know. doesn't mean, so what exactly does it mean? It knows Ibra Chodesh is a Shvera Lashon. So we have a problem how to go ahead and figure that out. So the Gemara is I'm gonna preview the Gemara with you. It'll make things easier. It's a little obscure. We all see this? Yes? You all see this, guys? You're looking at the same thing. It says Abaya, yeah? Ibra Chodesh, you're looking at this?
Yes.
I need someone to tell me yes. Good. Now.
Yes. You don't hear me?
Now I hear you now. Now, the Mishnah says the lashon of Ibra Chodesh. What does it mean when it says Ibra Chodesh? It says Abaya in the name of Rameya. Don't learn Ibra, learn Tani Kiddush. What does that mean? Mikachim es kol chadashim. Every month, 3 dayanim are required to pronounce the word Kiddush. Every month, 3 dayanim are necessary to pronounce. So we're changing the word. We're changing the word Ibra Chodesh, guys, to Kiddush Chodesh. Good? That's the easiest way out of this. Rabbi has a problem that you can't just go ahead and change words that don't make any sense. I mean, usually it can be off by a letter, but a total word, that's kind of schwer. A total word to change is very schwer. So you know what it means? It means Kiddush biyom Ibor. It means, when it says Ibor, doesn't mean the month itself automatically. It means the need to say Kiddush on the 30th day. Mikachim rak acha chodesh chasa. That you Mekadesh after a chodesh chasa. In other words, after day 29, you say on Yom Ibor, which is day 30. Day 30 is the day of Ibor, guys. That's the day that you're going to either make it a malay or a chasar. So there's a mitzvah on day 30 to pronounce Rosh Chodesh if it's a 29 month. So Kiddush biyom Ibor, you're going to pronounce the Mekudesh by 3 dayanim on the 30th day, and therefore, how does it impact? You only go ahead and say Chodesh Chasar. Fellas, what happens if Rosh Chodesh is on 31st day? There's no need to say Mekudesh. Automatically, you can't have a 32-day month. Automatically, day 31 is going to be Rosh Chodesh, so there's no need to say it. You only say it when it's a Chasar, where it's 29, and the possibility of day 30 is a Malay, and it goes to the previous month, or it's the first day of the next month, then you pronounce it the first day of the next month. Then you pronounce it the first day of the next month. Kiddush, when do you say Mekudesh, B'yom Ibor, when it's the 30th day, and the previous month is Chasar. You got it? Did you get that, guys? I don't see a lot of, let me look at you. Benji, you got it. Everyone got it? Rabbi Avi, you got it? Abe Weimer, you got this? Okay, Maya? Okay, Baruch Hashem. In other words, I think it's important to know this because it shows up all the time and you get an understanding of the Moilid, right? So, says Rava, one more time, the only time you say Mekudesh is when Rosh Chodesh is on the 30th day, meaning the previous month was a Chasar. But if Rosh Chodesh is going to be on day 31, because the previous month was Malay, it's unnecessary, because that automatically. And he fits it in the word. The word Ibor means Kiddush Ibor. You'll be Mekadesh that day, the Ibor day. Okay, now, the third pshat is Flimai. Flimai says the opposite. You'll be Mekadesh day 31. On day 31, you're saying Kiddush. Mekadshim rak acha chodesh malay. You only say Mekudesh after Chodesh, after 30th day. On the 31st day, you say it. So he's the opposite of Rava. And therefore, Ibor Chodesh, he also teaches, he doesn't Kiddush b'yoyim Ibor, he teaches Kiddush achar Ibor. And finally, Rav Ashi, and it says in the Tana's Rebbe Eliezer, Ibor hu chishuv. You don't say Kiddush, you just consider which day is day 30 or 31. You never Mekadesh the Chodesh, you only Mekadesh the Shana. You never Mekadesh the Chodesh, you only Mekadesh the Shana. So these are the 4 ways to learn Ibra Chodesh. Like Reb Meir, say Kiddush HaChodesh. Like Rava, say Kiddush B'yom Ibor. Like Rav Nachman, say Kiddush Achar Ibor. And like Rav Ashi, say Ibor Hu Cheshiv. You consider it, but you don't say Chodesh at all. And those are the 4 pshatim. And Bez Hashem, the Gemara now will go very, very easy. As I think so. I think I did a job. Okay. Ibra Chaydish B'Shleisha, Chishiv like Katani, it doesn't learn Chishiv. Kiddush like Katani, it doesn't learn Kiddush, Ela Ibra. Loyla Fred Gemara Ibra, Loyla Katsha, Umemelo La'aber. If it's talking about day 31 being Reish Chaydish, don't say anything. Why do you need 3? It's going to happen automatically. So Rabbi, you're right. Tani Kiddush Chaydish. Don't learn Ibra Chaydish, that you need 3 for the Chaydish to automatically become. Guys, you understand? Ibra Chaydish means that it's going to be a full month, correct? So you're not speaking about doing anything. So why do you need 3 Dayanim to witness this? Says the Gemara, just let it happen. Says the Gemara, no, it doesn't mean you just let it happen. Don't learn Ibra, says the word Kiddush. In other words, you need a physical action of the Bezdin pronouncing the Makudish. So learn Kiddush. The act of Kiddush HaChaydish is going to be whichever month it is through Dayanim of 3. Tanya Nami Hachi, Kiddush HaChaydish V'Ibba Hashana, B'Shleisha. To be Mekadosh the Chaydish and to be Ma'abed Hashana, to make a leap year is with 3. Different Reb Meir. These are the words of Reb Meir. Now, that's the easiest pshat. So, Bezdin always, no matter which month it is, at the end of the month, you Mekadosh. Amar Rava, V'Ibba Katani. Right? It says Ibba, and Rashi says, guys, look at Rashi over here. V'Ibba Katani. Derech Tana Toya Begirsa L'chasa Teva Ayidei Shikcha. You may forget a letter or a word through Shikcha. Avlein Nachlif L'Tana being Girsas Kiddush, the Girsas Ibur. Whether it be Goyris Ibur or Kiddush, no one's making that mistake. There are mistakes that Shaykh, but such a mistake to that extent not. So therefore, Rava disagrees with Reb Meir, and therefore he has to go ahead and say his pshat. El Omer Rava, Kiddush B'Yoyim Ibur B'Shleisha, being Mekadosh on day 30. To say that day 30 is Reish Chodesh, because the previous month was Chaser, that you need 3. So that means Kiddush B'Yom Ibur, right? Acher Ibur Leka, Kiddush. But after Ibur, there's no Kiddush. In other words, on day 31, you're not going to say Kiddush. Makudish. You're not going to say that. You're only going to say it on day what? On day 30. And what does day 30 accomplish by saying that's Reish Chodesh? It makes the previous month a 29. Umani, who's the Tana, according to Rava of our Mishnah, is Rav Lazar Reb Tzadiki. The Tanya Rav Lazar Reb Tzadik Omer, if you didn't see it on day 30, if you didn't see it on day 29 to be Mekadosh day 30, then automatically it's Kiddush. You don't say Kiddush on day 31. That's Rava according to Rav Lazar Reb Tzadik. Rav Nachman Amar Kiddush Acha Ibba. You be Mekadosh after the Ibba. You Mekadosh day 31. B'Shleisha B'Yoyim Ibra Leka Kiddush. But on day 30 there is no Kiddush. Umana is Flimahi. That's Flimai. Flimai says you don't say Mekudish on day 30, you say it on day 31. The Tanya Flimai Omer Bismanoi Ein Mekachnai Soy Shalai. If it comes Bismanoi on day 30, Ein Mekachnai Soy Shalai Bismanoi Mekachnai Soy. If it comes on day 31, then you Mekadosh. So he's the opposite of Rava. Rav Ashi Amar Lo'olam Chishav Katani. Don't learn Ibur, don't learn Kiddush, but Chishav. My Ibur, what do you mean? Ibur means Chishav Ibur, the Ibur, meaning the need to get together and not be Mekadesh it, but to consider which months have to be. Again, as I told you, fellas, it can't be more than 8. So there has to be some type. They make mathematical cheshbonis. So my Ibur Chishav the Ibur, the ID the Kabbalah Misnei Ibur Shana. Tananami Ibba Chodesh. Since you have to learn Ibba Shana, we learned Ibba Chodesh. Now he's asking, why does, according to you, that it has nothing to do with Kiddush, and not, so why do you learn the word Ibba? You should just learn Chishuv. According to the first 3 pshatim, according to the first one, you change the gersa completely. According to the middle 2, we are Mekadesh the Ibba, or we're not Mekadesh the Ibba, but the word Ibba belongs there. According to you, Rav Ashi, why do you have the word Ibba there at all? Since you're only considering, right? Why is the word there at all? So the Gemara says, since you go ahead and we said Ibba Hashana, symmetrically we learned Ibba Chodesh. Ibba Chodesh, Chishav Chodesh, Tanya Tananami, Ibba Chodesh, Chishav Chodesh.
No, I'm saying
Umay Ibba Chishav the Ibba. I did the Kabbalah Misnei Ibba Shana Tananami Ibba Chodesh. Chishav Chodesh in, Kiddush Chodesh Loi. But you won't be Mekadesh the Levana at all. Money is Rebbe Eliezer, the Tanya Rav Zaymer, Ben Bizmana, Ben Shalei Bizmana, where it comes on day 30 or 31, doesn't make a difference. Ein Mekadesh Naisei Shnemar, V'kidashtem eshnas hachamishim shana shemekadesh the 50th year. At shana shnayim atem mekadesh mekadesh shonim v'atem mekadesh chadashim. You're not being mekadesh chadashim. So let's chaz ribba quickly one more time. Things very geschmack, guys. That we foreshadowed this to you, right? Made a big difference. Yes. Good. So according to Abaya, Iba Chodesh means Kiddush Chodesh. So it's regular with Mechadish every single month, every day of the month. Whether it's day 30 or 31, we're going to pronounce Kiddush. It says Rabbi, when it says Ibra, it means Kiddush b'yom Ibra, you only Mechadish day 30. Day 31, you're not Mechadish. Rav Nachman Tlemus is the opposite. You see, learn Achar Ibra, that you Mechadish day 31, but not day 30. Rav Rosh says, just don't, Ibra means Chishuv, but it doesn't mean Kiddush. Why? So, you're not Mekadesh any Chodesh, because you only Mekadesh the Shana, but you're not Mekadesh what? The Chodesh, you don't see Kiddush, and we don't pass them like that, obviously. Guys, good? Very nice chart. Rabbi Kornfeld, very, very good charts. What?
Why is my computer? I asked you to get dressed and to shopping. What are you doing?
Okay, I got that culprit. Florida. Noise. Okay. Rav Shimon Gamliel says, he says, B'shloisha. Rav Shimon Gamliel, he says that what? You begin with 3, you're nice of night with 5, and you conclude with 7. 3, 5, and 7, guys, right? 3, 5, and 7. Not 3, but 3, 5, and 7. Tanya, Ketzad, when it says Rav Shimon Gamliel, Shloisha, Maschilin, Ubechamisha, Noisim, Begoimim, Beshiva, you begin with 3, you continue with 5, and you conclude with 7. How does that work? Echadam Aleishev. One dayan of the 3 says, let's sit down and look into this. Ushnayim Oimrim, Shaloi Leishev, it's not necessary. Batal Yachi b'miutai. You're going to be the one who says we should look into it, about the figuring out the Levana, is batal to the other 2. Shnayim Oimrim Leishev, 2 people say, let's start. Ve'echadam Shaloi Leishev. What do you do to those 3? Because you have 2 saying yes and 1 saying no. Since you need 3, and 1 is out, so you add an other 2, and now you have a total of 5. 3 to begin with, and additional 2. The noisim and they look into the matter. Now, shnayim of the 5 oimrim tzricha ibur, who shleishim oimrim she'ena tzricha, and 3 say not, but lu shnayim b'miutan. So of the 5, you're going to go ahead and 3 said no and 2 said yes, we'll be matal 2. What about if 3 said yes and 2 said no? Then you're going to have to add another 2 to get right. Right? What do we do? That is a total of 7, and we'll be ma'aver the chaydesh. She'ein haminyan pachas mishava. There's never less than what? Than 7. You won't be ma'aber. You have 3 and 2, guys. Why don't you go ahead and say those 3? Because you don't do less than 7. That's according to Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. Excuse me, Shimon Gamliel. So you begin with 3, and if 2 say yes and 1 says no, you add another 2. That's you begin with 3 and nice of a night in. But the Gemara is never less than 7. We'll find out why in a second. So therefore, if 3 say yes and 2 say no, you're going to add another 2 to these guys, and you'll have a total of 7, right? Total of 7. Okay. Now, where's the source for this? Hani shloisha chamisha b'shiva keneged mi. Where's keneged? So pligi bar Rav Yitzchak bar Nachmani v'chad de'imei. Rav Yitzchak bar Nachmani, he argues with what? With one of the people. Umanu, who's that one person? So Shimon ben Pazi. V'imri la'others say Rav Shimon ben Pazi v'chad de'amei. Umanu Rav Yitzchak ben Nachmani. Chad Amar keneged birchas kahanim. V'chad Amar, and the other one says Keneged something else. So let's focus on the first thing. Keneged Bechos Kahanim. Now Rashi brings Yivrech Hashem v'Yishmerech is 3. Yor Hashem Yom Panav Elecha v'Chunecha is 5, right? And Yisa Hashem Panav v'Yasem Lecha Yisa Hashem Panav Elecha v'Yasem Lecha Shalom is what is 7. So 3, 5, and 7. So we begin with 3. We go to 5 to 7. The question is, what in the world does good 3, 5, and 7? It's nice, but what does Kiddush Levana have to do with Birchas Kahanim? What does Kiddush Levana have to do with Birchas Kahanim? So this is not this. I don't need this anymore. Can you see this? What do you see? You see a bunch of words or the previous chart?
What did it start with?
Ushlishis b'sheva.
Yes.
Okay, you see that? You see this now? I just scrolled it up. You see the Gimel Machlokes?
Yes.
Okay, so let's start. Chadam Keneged Birchas Kahanim. Biyad Ramah, which is one of the Ikar Rishonim on Masechta Sanhedrin, Kasav. Im Tishal im Mevorchim Kahanim. If you learn from Birchas Kahanim, Yalif, the boy Chamisa, you should need 15. 3, 5, and 7 is 15. The hub Birchas Kahanim, Hachahave. Kivin de Paskinuhu, Rachmana Lahani Kra, the Birchas Kahanim, Shma Minosh, Kol Davashu B'minyan, Nischalik L'Gimel Machlokes. So says the Yad Ramah, the Torah teaches us when Birchas Kahanim could have been 15 Pesukim together, but it divided up to 3, 5, and 7. So we should divide up the Dayanim to 3, 5, and 7 rather than 15 Dayanim. The Inyan Iba Hashana LeBirchas Kahanim. What's the connection between Iba Hashana and Birchas Kahanim? Shekivin Shetziva Kadosh Baruch Hu Levarach Es Yisrael B'Shalosh Brachos. Since the Kadosh Baruch Hu commanded Yisrael with 3 brachos, Rishona B'Shalosh Tevos, Yerech Hashem Yishmerecha, Shniya B'Chamesh, V'Shlishis B'Sheva, V'Kol Kach Lama, V'Lei B'Bracha Achas Hayachal Levarchem. Kadosh Baruch Hu could have gone ahead and give us 1 bracha, right? Elifnei Shechavivim Lefanav. Since we're so dear in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ratza Lebircham B'Birchas Harbe. He wanted to give us many brachas. Af Yisrael Kishabayim Liyashev Seder Hashanim Al Machainon. When they're coming to sit down and set the Jewish calendar to make that sure that Yom Tovim should be in the proper times, Ulatakin Asamayados Shehanchilon that was bequeathed to us. Tzrichim Lahaskel B'Shleisha. You have to begin with 3. V'dayoy le'evet shiyeh k'rabbi. And we should be what? Like our master. So in other words, just like Kadosh Baruch Hu, when he came to go ahead and give brachas, he divided up 3, 5, and 7. So too, when you come to start to be machashev, we know better than Hashem, it should be 3, 5, and 7. Umatzinu hashvos b'birchas kahanim, the kaviyas hachadashim b'ashanim, kemo b'birchas kahanim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu maskim al yadam. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is maskim, and he brings other gemaras to this. Look at the end of this. It's fascinating. This is really, Benji's going to love this. Now, he brings over here, V'ro lahalon, Yud Aleph Ois Gimel, I don't know what this abbreviation is, Perek Tesvav, Dikeshinichnosim la'abres hashana, when the Bezdin would go ahead and make an Ibiyar, Yotza or mi Beis Medrash, or would come out of the Beis Medrash, Ubol Ifneihem, and would come in front of them, V'hoyu yoidim, shenisratza lehem elikim, and they would know that what? That HaKadosh Baruch Hu like that. Shnemar, Sarach b'choshech, or le'yisharim. V'shom, this is Pirkei Rebbe Elazar, Perek Ches, v'shoimim baskol, they would hear baskol, shetzavach, it would cry out, v'oimeres, ashrei ha'om, yodei asrua, Hashem b'or panecha ya'alechun, b'or panav shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, hein mahalchin. So you would know that what? You're going in, what happened over here? You know you're going what? In the Or of Hashem. So therefore, your Hashem, what do we say in the, why do we, let me have it over here. I think that's what it means. What's the connection? Right. What's the connection over here? Is that it says, Ashrei Yom Yodei Srua Hashem Bar Panecha Yalechun, Bior Panav Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu Mahalchin, and V'zehu Inyan Birchas Kahanim, Yo'er Hashem Panav Elecha. So it says over here in the Beis Medrash, when they would come to do Kiddush, the Baskol would come out and scream, Ashrei Yom Yodei Srua Hashem Ba'or Panecha Yalechun, Ba'or Panav Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu Mahalchin, and therefore we begin the Birchas Kahanim that says, Yo'er Hashem Panav Elecha. Yo'er Hashem Panav Elecha, and therefore that's the connection between that and Birchas Kahanim. A beautiful piece from the Galis Hayom. Fantastic piece, quoting a Pirkei Rebbe Elazar. That's why this Sefer, guys, is unbelievable thing. his Bekias was just was beyond. His Bekias was beyond. Okay, the next we said is the Machloikis 3, 5, and 7. So the 3, 5, and 7. The first one was what was Birchas Kahanim. There is a second approach, and it seems to be based upon the way that court the kavudim of servants sitting in front of kings. And what's the second approach? Bechad Amar Shloisha Kineged. It's Shloisha, what we find by Tzidkiyahu. It says Shoimrei Hasaf. So by Tzidkiyahu, they were Shoimrei Hasaf. The people watching the first were the 3. Chamisha Akineged Meiroye Pnei Hamelech. From those Tzidkiyahu, the 5 that from time to time would see the Pnei Melech. And Shiva Dayanim's Keneged, but it says, according to Rashi, by Achashverosh. Tosfos disagrees, but Rashi says by Achashverosh that there were 7 Roye Pnei HaMelech, who were there all the time. So 3 is Shomrei Asaf, 5 is Mei Roye, and the 7 are the Roye, who are there all the time. Tani Rabbi Yosef, Hani Shloisha v'Chamisha v'Shiva Dayanim, Shloisha Keneged Shomrei Asaf, Chamisha Mei Roye Pnei HaMelech, Shiva Roye Pnei HaMelech. So he brings over here the Magalias Hayom. He brings an opinion that there were 3. These were the names of the 3 Shloisha Batei Dinim Hayisham. Echad Yoshev al Pesach Harabayis. One of the Bezdin would sit at the opening of the Harabayis. The Echad Yoshev al Pesach Hazara. One Bezdin would be at the opening of the Hazara. The Echad Yoshev Belishkas Hagazis, and one Bezdin was in the chambers of stone. It's possible Shabezna shall Pesach Harabayis Nikrishami Asaf. Habezna shall Pesach Hazara Meiroye Pnei HaMelech. Habezna Gadol Heimeroye Pnei HaMelech. So therefore, it would be very good. That's what they would call the Shami Asaf is farther away. That's the first set. Then the Meiroye is the second set, and the one that's sitting Pnei HaMelech that sees it all the time because they're in the Beis Hamikdash proper, the Lishka Gazis. That's called what? That's the 7. That's the way. That's the way Megalis Yom brings it. Ton of Yosef, Hani Shlosh Chamisha Vir Shlosh Kaneged Shem Yosef. Okay. Amay Abayel Rabbi Yosef. Ava Idna my time like Pirish Lan Marhachi. Amalahu Le Havi Yadana Tzchichus. I didn't know you needed to know. Amiba Yisim Yinoi Milsav Le Amilahu. Is any time you didn't ask something from me and I didn't answer it, so I didn't know you didn't know. Again, Tosfos, just the last Tosfos on the page. Shiva. Roy Pnei HaMelech, Pirish B'Kontras, who's the 7? Dachashverosh Koi. They nearish it, Tiknu Keneged, sorry, Avodas Galilim. We not mashma, they would be metaking a number of Bezdin Keneged what? The Sarim of the Goyim. And the Farsha Ben Atam, the Haim Sari Yisrael, that these Roy Pnei HaMelech are the Sari Yisrael, the Ashlim B'Seif Melachim. The Higla, the Bezradon, Gimel Shami Asaf, the Hey Roy Pnei HaMelech, the B'Seif Yomi Yokasav, the Shiva Anoshim, May Roy Pnei HaMelech. So therefore, it's mashma that was from Yirmiyahu in the time of Nusradon. Okay.